Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Friday live question and answer class, where I take your questions regarding American accent, English pronunciation, intonation, anything that you've been working on and struggling with and you need a little help for. You can ask about that today by typing your questions in the chat, and I'll answer them for you live. I also like to share some of the free resources from speechmodification.com and other places that you can get answers to your questions. So feel free to ask your questions at any time. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to those of you who are regulars, and welcome to any newcomers today. I want to talk a little bit at the beginning today about some difficult patterns and cover perhaps a couple of requests that have just come in recently. I do also, as you may know, have a Word of the Day series, and in those classes, we break down one word at a time. Of course, some classes we cover a couple of words because people request more than one word at a time, and also sometimes they're asking about words like this week we talked about walk and work, and it is very helpful sometimes that you have two words that it's hard to pull them apart or distinguish them. I will say I just today got a request for, someone was asking about the difference between science and signs. And it's interesting, you know, these words look very different, but they do sound somewhat similar, and I can see why that was confusing. So let's talk about these, and of course, at any time, do feel free to ask your questions, and we'll jump to those live questions as well. So looking at science and signs, both have the same beginning sound. The letter C in science is silent, and so it just has the S sound. And in both of these words, the letter I says its name, like the letter I. It's the diphthong I. So that in the dictionary is going to look like this. And basically, you just have to hold it long. You start with kind of more of an ah sound, and you close your jaw as you continue. I. It slides pretty quickly, so you can think of it as one sound, I. And in the word science, we have that I sound, and then we just have schwa, science. So we have kind of this letter E says the sound vowel schwa, science. And I'm long on the psi part and short and reduced on the ns part, science. The letters CE say the sound S in science. Then when we go to signs, that's all one syllable. So I don't have, it's just one syllable stress. Same starting psi part, but then I go to my N, and this letter S says the sound Z. That's because in a word like sign or signs, S is going to say the Z sound because the N sound is a voiced sound. And so when I add something to make plural or a possessive or a third person verb form, that letter S in grammar is going to say the Z sound. Now, I'm not necessarily going to have to say signs with a strong Z. I actually want to do a very light Z, signs. It's almost like a light short S. I just want to watch out that when I'm saying something like science, my S is strong. When I say signs, if I use an S, it needs to be very, very light, or I can use a Z, signs, especially when I'm linking. The signs are showing, then it's going to sound more like signs are showing. So main difference here, science versus signs. One syllable, two syllables. Thank you for that suggestion, that request. Nice to see you. Hi, Sarwar. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask those in the comments. Let's go to some other recent requests because I'm not seeing any live questions coming in just yet. So recently also, or maybe I'll go to some things that are in the lineup for Word of the Day. So we had a request from Halim. He wanted to know about the word foreigner. And that's a good request because, of course, this is a word we need to use in fairly typical everyday speech. And the spelling of the word is a little bit confusing. So first of all, if we just look at foreign, I would rewrite that with the word for, same as number 4. And that has the or diphthong, foreign. And then this part just says in, like in the room, in the country, etc. First syllable stress, foreign. And then if I'm saying foreigner, I just add an at the end, foreigner. If I'm saying foreigners, I add a Z, foreigners. Yeah, okay. Halim, that one you asked about quite some time ago. I've been getting to some of your requests lately. So hopefully you're watching today. And if not, I'll put a little note in the comments to direct you to check that one out. Gabriel has a question about the words pool, full, and fool. Yes, I'd be happy to talk about those. This has been something that we covered in our Word of the Day series. So after class, when I go through the in the comments, I'm going to leave a timestamp for the different sounds, and I'll also put a link there for a more detailed class talking about pool, pull, because we talked about in that class, we talked about pull as well, and then fool. So the main thing going on here is that we have in the pool and fool, we have the oo vowel, and in pull and full, we have the vowel. And so these two are often interchanged, or actually more often what happens is this vowel is difficult for non-native speakers, and they tend to say it more with this oo sound, which means your word pull might sound more like pool, or your word full might sound more like fool. And it's especially difficult when you have the L sound there as well, because we have to do a dark L. So for your reference, I would say using my video that helps you with the dark L is also going to help you with all of these words. We'll talk about that in the context of fool and pool, where you notice when I said fool just then, I said it kind of dragged out, and I said it like this, foo with this oo vowel, fool. And there's kind of a hidden W, because then before my L, I have to do kind of a schwa. So that would sound like fool. Now it is all one syllable. Eventually I have to speed up fool and say it all together. But if you go slowly and you kind of break down where is the difficulty for you, making sure that you have the wool, that rounding. That's because I'm going from the rounded oo to the unrounded schwa, the before the L, ooh. My lips just naturally make that glide noise when they're going from vowel shape to vowel shape. When I'm doing something more like full or pull, I'm not as rounded as I am with the oo. That's the difference between these vowels. This one is lax, and my lips are rounded, but they're not tightly rounded like the oo. So full and pull, I still have kind of that dark L with the schwa-like quality, but I don't have that W sound as much, not full. I don't need the glide. It just naturally goes full. I would say for these two words, you almost don't have much schwa there. Full and pull, fool and pool. So that might have been more than you were hoping for in terms of explanation, and I may have said it in a more clear and logical way in other videos, so I'll make sure that I get that link to you as well. But those sounds, the oo and the are difficult, and the dark L is difficult. So hopefully breaking it down that way will help you to be able to use those more easily. Great. Okay, so let's also look at some other requests that have come in. Hi, Halim. You are here today. So I did talk about foreigner at the beginning for you today. So Halim is asking about the word stimulus. Yes, something we're talking about now with the stimulus bills and stimulus packages for the economy. We have first syllable stress, stimulus, and the first vowel is the I vowel. So practicing stim, and then we have ulus, stimulus. For this letter U, we have the schwa, the and to be going between the M and the we have the ya glide, stimulus. Stimulus. So here we have two schwas at the end. The only challenge there, not the only challenge, but the only sort of hidden sound is that glide, stimulus. You might sometimes hear people saying stimulus. These vowels are interchangeable. I would go with the schwa if you can, because it's in an unstressed syllable and it goes by kind of quickly. Halim also wants to know about feminine. And this again, first syllable stress, we have the red tent vowel. So fem, same vowel as in ten or men. And then we just have two feminine, we have two I vowels in the unstressed syllables. So in. It's almost like two of the word in, feminine. Feminine. You could also use a bit of a schwa there, feminine. That difference between the I and the schwa and the unstressed syllable, as long as it's lax and short and unstressed, feminine, it doesn't really matter too much which one you use. In these, I think I use the I because it's spelled with letter I, and it's got those front vowels of the M and the N around them. So feminine. And then your last word was leisure. So leisure has the zh sound for the letter S. It's also in words like measure and treasure. Usually we find that in the middle of words. There's a few words where it's at the end, like garage, or like I can think of one word where it's at the beginning, which is genre. This sound, sometimes I write it as a ZH because it's the same mouth position as the SH sound, shh, but my voice is on. So when I say shh, there's no voicing. When I say zh, like in leisure, measure, genre, same mouth position, but my voice is on. You can get more help for that, and I do have a video about measure and some other words with zh, also a video about genre. The first part of leisure, even though it's an EI, it's just an E sound. So it's like this in the IPA, leisure. And so I'll write that with two E's. So unconventional spelling, but it just sounds like Lee. And then we just have the URE just says So you need your tight back American R, leisure. First syllable stress and short on the second. That's a good word, and I think you maybe requested that before. So thank you for your patience, and I'm glad you're here so I can answer some of your questions live today. We have a request for the word idiot. So this one, we have first syllable stress. The id is long and the iut, second two syllables, are short. In the IPA, you'll see it has the lax I vowel for that first letter I, which is typical for a stressed syllable. And then the second I says the E vowel. The letter O says the schwa, idiot, and then we have a T. So I would write that kind of as I, D, ut. And I will say that Americans often don't say a clear T, so they might not say idiot with a released T. They might say it more like idiot, where they lift the tongue for that T and then they don't release the air. It's called a stopped T. Good request. That's a challenging word. Thank you. Okay, let's take a look at some other words that have come in recently. Okay, we have a request for the word statistics and probability. So statistics. What's tough about this is multiple syllables, the multiple T sounds doing different things. So let's break it down. It has second syllable stress. statistics. So the sta and ticks are short. The tis is long. You might want to start with that one. And it has the I vowel, like in did and didn't. And this one, we really say the T sound, statistics. So you release the air on that. So starting with tis, then for this T, statistics, we do less of a T. It's probably a flap, might be like a little bit of a D sound, statistics. That might help you if you think of it as a D, statistics. You can see this is tough for even me to say. And then that first ST, the letter A is a schwa, so it sounds like a. So statistics. You can say it with a clear T there as well, statistics, because it's easier to do two clear T's. But in American speech, this one will be clear and this one will be a little bit more of a flap, so not as much. This one, sta, with the ST blend, we just naturally don't release as much air on that T sound. Excuse me. So for this word, this is one where I would definitely do one syllable at a time and then try to speed up, and even starting on the stressed syllable, like tistics, and then adding in statistics, and try to get that rhythm of short, long, short, statistics. Then you'll also probably want to try practicing that in some phrases and sentences, because it is a challenging combination of sounds, and so it won't necessarily come out easily and naturally in your speech unless you give it some extra help and some extra practice. Thank you for that request. Oh, and then you also wanted to know about probability. Probability. This one follows one of the patterns of English that the second to last syllable gets the stress. So we stress on the bill, and then the itty are short and unstressed, and also the proba are short and unstressed. Looking at letters, spelled letters are quite different from sounds in this one. So the letter O in this case sounds like pra, the vowel ah. This letter A sounds like b. It's a letter schwa, so proba. That's the same start as probably. I have a video about that as well, except for different stress. So proba, short and unstressed. Then I have bill. That's where my stress lies. That has the I vowel. That's like the man's name, Bill. And then my ity, there's my itty ending. Lax and then tense, but short and unstressed on both. So I would say starting on this one on bill, ability, bability, probability. While you're working on that, you can also work on ability, which is this word, ability, where letter A again says schwa because it's an unstressed first syllable. So a lot of times in longer words, if you start with the stressed syllable and the clear vowel and build from that, it can help you overall with the word probability. Thank you. That was a good request. Gabriel has another request, which is for the word durable. You'll hear Americans say this two ways. I just said it durable with just an vowel for syllable stress, and then there's my able, like in ability and probability, where we have the schwa, bull. Again, I'll write it this way, but this is a syllabic L. So in words like able, durable, bull, I almost go right from the B to the L with no vowel sound. If there's anything there, it's a little bit of a schwa, a bull, durable. You'll also hear some native speakers say this a little bit more like durable, where they use more of an oo, there, durable. I tend to say durable. That's because I'm from the Midwest and I live on the West Coast now. You can do either one, whatever's easier for you. I think probably a little bit more common is durable rather than durable. Good request. Thank you. We have a request for the word deliberately. deliberately. This has second syllable stress. So if I start on that, liberately, deliberately, that would be one way I recommend practicing. The lib syllable has the I vowel, deliberately. Then we have a unstressed but still tight back American R, with a stop T, and then li. And then this one has a schwa. So schwa, duh, lib, I make the T, but I don't release it. I just release it right into the L of li, deliberately. Yeah, that's a tough one. Good request. Thank you. Gabriel's asking about doing the brielle in Gabriel. Yeah, sometimes taking our name from our native language and then trying to say it the way Americans say it can be challenging. The brielle in American English, we're going to say that as an E-ul. There's our dark syllabic L as well. Same as in pull. So that's a theme for you. Because we're going from the E, which is kind of a smiling sound, to the ul with that schwa, there's a little bit of a y sound in there. Eel. So you might find Gabriel, that I have some videos for words like feel and fill and full that might help you with this pattern as well. And then the gay is just the A vowel, the diphthong. So long, short. Gabriel. If the BR is part of the problem with the EL, I think for you it's probably that L because you were mentioning pull and full and fool. You can always do real and then brielle, Gabriel. My videos for how to say real and really might help you here as well. It's the combination of gliding from vowel to vowel and then having to go into the dark L that I think is giving you some trouble, understandably. Thank you for that request. Hi, nice to see you, everyone. We have a request for the word specific. So I was just working with a client on this, and that's a great request. For a lot of people, words that start with S blends, so S and another consonant, like specific or special or school, you might have a tendency to add an extra eh sound before the S, depending on what your native language is, and you want to avoid that. One way to try that is just start with the S and make sure that you're holding the S sound and then move into your word specifically. Also difficult with specifically is kind of the order of which sounds come where. So again, specifically, breaking it down syllable by syllable is really helpful. We also have the ALLY in this word. It looks kind of like it should be specifically because we have the letters there. It would probably be better if we spelled it like this because we only have 2 sounds there, not 3. Breaking it down, spa, we have unstressed, we have no stress on the first syllable because the stress is on sif. So the first syllable is vowel schwa, spa. Then we have the sif syllable, lax I vowel, that's where our length is, specif. And then we have an ik, another lax short I vowel, specific. And then finally we have a tense E at the end, specifically. Again, you can go slow, specifically, then try to speed it up more, specifically. Good word, thank you. Great. Let's see what other questions we have. Hi, Isabel. She's asking about would've, wouldn't have, couldn't have, shouldn't have. Yeah. Okay. So I actually did recently cover this also in a word of the day class. So after class today, I'll put the link for that video in the comments so you can go to that and see it. But these are very typical contractions, very common everyday use in English. And what I typically hear is that when somebody is trying to say would've, should've, could've, their tendency is to feel like they have to do this vowel that's in have. So I'll hear it more like should have instead of should've. So we really need to think about that part of the word dropping out. And when American native speaker, even probably English, different language kids, different country, different Englishes, when kids learn to spell should've when they're little and they don't know that it's spelled like this, they might write it more like should of. That's because that's actually how it sounds. This part of the word is a schwa and a v. So it sounds like of, which is how we pronounce this word, should have. So this might help you a little bit to think that these two have the same pronunciation. What I say is thinking of also, you could write it like should of. So you can see kind of where the sounds are, because these sounds, it's a little misleading. There's nothing written for that schwa sound. Actually, there's nothing written for that sound. Should have. And we do say it kind of all like one word. So same thing for could have, would have, should have. There's really not a lot of vowel there, but you need a little something to connect the D and the V, should have. And it does come out like a schwa. Then when we go to shouldn't have, wouldn't have, couldn't have, that's not something that we write. And so again, it's hard to know, like, what am I hearing? If I'm saying couldn't of, it's two contractions together. So that makes it harder, right? So again, rewriting it like couldn't of, and that's saying it all in one phrase, couldn't have. Maybe I'll put this to distinguish that this is the vowel, couldn't have. Again, not a lot of vowel here. Couldn't, I almost go right from the D to the N. Couldn't have, and right from the N to the V. But there are like some little schwas in there. Couldn't have, wouldn't have, shouldn't have. For those, could have, would have, should have, couldn't have, wouldn't have, shouldn't have. The best way is to try them by themselves, break it down, rewrite it so your brain makes sense of what sounds are there and what order to go in, and then practice using them. So I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have gone. I couldn't have made it anyway. I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have gone if I could have. I should have talked to you sooner, etc. Practicing some short phrases, really integrating that natural kind of all of those contracted words as one word into your speech will help you use those more easily. I hope breaking it down that way helped you see what the sounds are and helps you use those common contractions. It's worth spending time on these contractions because Americans really never say, I could not have done that, unless they're trying to stress specifically, I could not have done that. Rarely do we use those helping verbs. We always contract them. And that's appropriate for professional speech as well. As it's not slang, it's not too casual. It's how we actually articulate those sounds when we're speaking in pretty much all contexts. So good suggestion. Thank you, Isabel. We have a request for the word jewelry. I'm going to just say it briefly and direct you to a recent word of the day for that one. So jewelry. You want to go with the oo, jewel, and then there's kind of a w sound, jewel. We have the vowel like in good book, jewelry. You can also kind of just think jewelry. That's a little easier way. Jewelry. Do one syllable at a time. In the comments after class, I'll give you the link for the video in which I break down jewelry and talk about some more details for it. So you can check that out after class. Same, I'll say for the word vulnerable. I have a video for that one as well. So again, I'll give you the kind of brief description now, and then after class, come back, check the comments so you can see my video for vulnerable, and you can get a little more help in more detail. We have first syllable stress here. So vul has the schwa vowel, so it sounds like vul. And then we say our ner syllable with our vulner, and then there's our brielle again. That's our syllabic L. So we go right from the B to the L, tiny little schwa in between, bull. So you can either do vulnerable, or vulnerable. We almost leave that syllable out and go right to vulnerable, right from the ner to the bull. It's a place where, again, rewriting it with the actual sounds, and seeing how the spelling is a little bit different, how we reduce that, many Americans do in connected speech, can be helpful. These are good words and challenging words that you're asking today. Don't be frustrated if you find them difficult and it takes a while to get them to be easy to say. They're not easy for me to say, even though I'm a native speaker. And you'll hear me in my videos slowing down, repeating, and sometimes making pronunciation errors on words like those. Great. Thank you so much. We have a question for the word honored. This is another one where people might have a tendency to make extra syllables that aren't there. So it looks like it should be honored. And we actually, if we wrote it the way it's really pronounced, it would sound like honored. So you can see a lot of letters that don't really have much sound. We just, the word on has the ah vowel, so you can also rewrite it with the AH, first syllable stress, honored. That OR just says and then we say a D for the ED ending when we go from a voice sound, honored. Literally, another word that I have a video for. So after class today, there's going to be a long list of links for some of these videos where you can get into more details. So literally, I like to rewrite it like this, literally, 4 syllables, literally. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that for you. Literally, that if you rethink of this T as a D because it's a flap, and break down those syllable by syllable, first syllable stress on literally. Great. Yes, Isabel, I'll share the link for you for sure. We have a request for the word wind. If you're talking about wind, the noun, then that has the I vowel, wind. If you're talking about wind, like wind up a watch, then that has the I diphthong, and that's the same as this word wine, wind. So the wind in the trees and wind your watch. Good. Isabel's suggesting that I write a book, and someday I would like to. Right now I'm busy with teaching classes and working with clients and keeping up the YouTube channel and making videos for you guys. But I do have quite a bit of material on my website on speechmodification.com in the free practice, and there's some things that you can read there. And I do actually have a short ebook, which is free, and you can download that from my website as well. And I think I often have that in the comments for the videos. So when you're on speechmodification.com, if you go to the store page, you can see here in the free downloads, or just right on the main store page. This is my ebook. It just kind of walks you through pronouncing the word the most common word in English, and gives you some ideas and a framework for how to work on changing your speech and what resources you can use, why to change, kind of the rationale that I like to use for my teaching is there and available for you. So until I have a longer book for you guys, that's a starting point that you can check out if you're interested. Thank you for the suggestion. We have a question about the best program for an advanced student. So we have someone who has been taking some of my online courses. He's been doing my online course for professionals. If you go here to the courses page, I would say for advanced students, the course that you've been doing, the training for professionals, is good. You can also check out our 6-week course. Even though this is the one that I usually recommend people start with, it's also good for more advanced learners because it walks you through the patterns and you can take the patterns and the details as far as you want in terms of, it'll give you the basics, but it'll also say next steps and walk you through the process of changing your speech. And I think for the more advanced students, sometimes getting that self-awareness, learning how to hear your own patterns and make changes in them. A lot of that is outlined in this course. And then my last recommendation would be for the advanced student, my Real Talk course, because this one goes through and tells you, okay, now that you have the basics of pronunciation and accent, how do you get that native sound? What's happening in what you hear and how is that different from your speech? In that course, in those videos, I teach you about my Real Talk technique, which is using native speakers, TV, movies, commercials, people around you, to be able to hear what's different between written English and spoken English. It's a lot about linking, reductions. Many of those videos are also here on YouTube for free. The course just helps you use them more systematically and apply some of the techniques in those videos to your own speech and to your own learning and training. So you can check that out. Hopefully that will help you. I also do one-on-one training. So some of people, after they've worked through online courses, like to get a little bit of help and specific feedback just for them. And that's a great step for an advanced student as well. Okay, next request for the words months and deaths. And so both of these words have the THS ending. I do have a video talking about THS endings because it's difficult for people. What I would say is, let's start with deaths because it doesn't have the N consonant as well. So what you want to do is work on just the word death first. And you want, for death, your tongue comes resting between your teeth to get that th sound. If you have difficulty with the TH, it's easier sometimes to start with a word that starts with TH. So you might start with something like think, where you can hold that TH, get into the position, and then go into the word. Then when you have your TH, you can move to a word where the TH is at the end, like death, death. Make sure your tongue comes forward. Then when I add the S sound, I just have to pull my tongue back again, deaths, and put it behind the teeth for the S position. You can just do the THS sound like and then try adding the rest of the word, deaths. Same with months, months. That one we have a tendency to do a little bit more of a stop TH, months, where I'm going from the N briefly into the TH and right to the S. Deaths and months. Yeah, challenging sounds. You can get a little bit more help for more practice and technique for the THS combination in my video for THS. Today's just sounds like an ad for other videos. I don't mean it to be that way. I just want you to know that for these patterns that you're seeing on particular words, you're going to find that across probably most words that have that same combination of sounds. And then for some of the words like literally or the other challenging words you've been asking about, going through and focusing just on that, having a 2 or 3 minute video talking about that can be a helpful resource. So as I said, usually after class, some point in the next few days, I'll go through and put a comment on this video that has a timestamp for all of the different words we've talked about. And with those timestamps, I'll also include a link for additional videos and lessons I have for your particular question. So I do recommend coming back and checking out the more in-depth answers for you, just so that you can use those resources. If you're watching this as a replay and you have a question, you can also leave comments and I'll direct you to where you can find answers in other videos, as well as I'll take suggestions for future word of the day classes. So we have every day we're covering a different word, and I have a long list of your requests so that I can go through and give you what you're specifically focused on and needing. We also have an option for channel membership. You can join this channel as a member, and member classes, we have a Sunday question and answer class where you can ask your questions at any point during the week in the comments on any video, and then I cover those classes in class on Sunday. You can also come to the class live on Sunday as a channel member and get a smaller group instruction and a lot of focus on your particular needs. So check out the membership options if you're interested in that. You just click the join button and it'll show you a little bit about different membership options. Great. Okay, so we're going to do a few more words and then I need to wrap up for today. If I don't get to everyone's words, I apologize in advance. I will try to make note of your questions and give you some resources and help in the comments after class. So I'm going to say I did just cover probability. So the person who's requesting that after class, I talked about it right after I talked about, somebody requested that already today. They requested probability and another word. And so that's already been covered in today's class. Welcome. Thank you for the greetings from Ecuador. And nice to see you. Those of you who are mentioning that you're English teachers as well. I think this paying attention to pronunciation as you're teaching others for English is really helpful for both you and your students. So nice to see you. Question about whether I have podcasts. I'm also considering trying to add a podcast. As I said earlier in the class about writing a book, there's a lot of projects I'd like to do, and I don't have time for them at the moment, but that's definitely something I'd consider. If you go to speechmodification.com, you can see free lessons. I have some videos and some recordings there. Some things are available for download there as well. So if you like to listen to a podcast because you can be working around the house or taking a walk while you're listening or driving, I think that's a great way to learn as well. You can use some of those downloads for that, and that's a great idea. Great. Okay, a couple more words that we've had requested. The word already. I think I might have a video for this one as well. I talked about all and already. So we have the ah vowel in already, but it's unstressed and short. So your main stress in already is on the red syllable. So you want your length to be there, and then you just end with an E sound already. All is not that easy because it's a dark L sound, and the all combination is tough for a lot of people. So I'm going to suggest look at my video for how to say all and already to help you with that dark L. But for now, already, you're just really short and unstressed on that all part of already. Great. Another request, the word mood and mode. You guys have me doing a lot of talking today. My throat's getting a little dry. Okay, so mood has the oo vowel, which we often spell with letters OO, and mode has the O vowel, which is a diphthong in English. You want to go from O and then relax and close the jaw as you're finishing. So mood, mode. What might help you is to pair another word with these. For example, new mood or blue nude mood. Those both have that oo vowel. Whereas mode, you could try no mode or go mode. You're not going to have too much trouble distinguishing between these, and that can help you with these two that seem close, the mood and mode. Okay, and then Isabel also wants to know the word dough. That one, even though the spelling looks like this is a confusing spelling because it can be it can be O, it can be a lot of different sounds in English. In this word, it's just an O. So this is just written like this in the IPA. It's the same as doe, as in a female deer. So all you need is O and the D. Rhymes with no or go, doe. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. I think I got to everybody's question. If I missed you, I have one more I see from you, Gabriel, unapologetically. So we'll do that as our last one for today. Again, if you're watching this as a replay, you can leave your question in the comments and I'll add it to my word of the day list, or we'll cover it in a future class. So the word that I missed was your word, Gabriel. Where is that now? Unapologetically. Unapologetically. So here's another A-L-L-Y that just says Lee. So I would break it down like this. The A says this O says unapologetically. That O says schwa, unapologetically. The jet has the main syllable, main stress, unapologetically. That's like this word jet, like the plane. Jetically. Wow, a lot of syllables there, right? Apologetically, unapologetically. Again, just breaking it down syllable by syllable, going slow, speeding back up is going to be helpful for you on that one. All right, I said that was our last word, but I see one more question. So I'm going to take your last question because I don't want you to feel left out. The word fair and its uses. So fair, same pronunciation as this word, fair, has the air diphthong. So just making sure you have the A sound and an sound. Air, fair. Its uses, we use that to say something is just, like it's fair and just, or versus unfair, meaning unbalanced or unequal. So we got a fair trial. I'm going to be fair and divide everything equally for you. We also use that to, in the US, a fair, and I think elsewhere as well, is a gathering. So we have something called the county fair where people come and it's a get-together, kind of a party, usually outside, sometimes associated with animals. Yeah, okay, so thank you for that request. And for all of the great requests today, we had a lot of challenging words. I think this class is going to be useful for many people. So thank you for your questions and your requests. I appreciate all of the support, and I hope that you'll check out the links that I add later so that you can go a little bit more in depth if I didn't cover your question well enough today. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day class. On Sunday, we'll have our phrase of the week. We're going to be looking at some phrasal verbs in that class. And also on Sunday, we have our live members class that I mentioned a moment ago for the channel members. It's not too late to join that. If you would like to become a channel member, you can come to our small group Sunday class. And again, I'll be back next week, Friday, same time, for our live question and answer class. If you have a question in the meantime, leave it in the comments on this video or any of my videos, and I'll get back to you with an answer. Thanks for a great class today, everybody, and for all of your support. I really appreciate those of you who are subscribers, and especially those of you who are channel members. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, guys. Hope to see you next week and tomorrow.